Good morning, SKN. I'm Alicia Daniel Blake.
And I'm Kortensia.
And welcome. And today it's going to be sunny with a 20% chance, slight chance of a brief shower. Highs of 86 and lows of 72 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's going to be a good day today.
It's going to be a good day. How was your weekend?
It was great. It was extremely busy, lots of spiritual reflection, lots of work, but I got through it. How was yours?
I rested all day Saturday and I did all my chores yesterday, so I had a good one.
Okay, great.
And now we begin with the latest in local news. This from the press unit in the office of the Prime Minister. Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, has extended his sympathies to the family and loved ones and citizens and residents of the Twin Island Federation on the passing of former Premier of Nevis and Senior Minister in the Team Unity Administration, Ambassador His Excellency Vance Amory. Ambassador Amory passed away Saturday, April 2nd, 2022 in the United Kingdom, where he was receiving medical treatment. Prime Minister Harris said, fellow citizens and residents, the death of Ambassador Vance Amory signals the passing of a true patriot and elder statesman who made a positive and indelible mark on the development of St. Kitts and Nevis over the course of his life. The Honorable Prime Minister described the late Premier of Nevis as a true friend, mentor, and advisor who provided staunch leadership, particularly in the formation of the Team Unity Coalition. As leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement, then Mr. Amory was one of the founding members of the Team Unity movement. Sympathy goes out to Mr. Amory's friends and families.
Yes, indeed. That was indeed sad news for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
That's actually what I woke up to on Saturday morning.
Okay. All right, and next up in the local news, Chief Vet Officer reveals how the Ministry of Agriculture is addressing dog attacks on farms. This from SKNIS. Within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, dog attacks on farms have been a destructive force over the years, as they have dramatically reduced the animal population on the islands. The Ministry of Agriculture is addressing the problem. Chief Veterinary Officer in the Department of Agriculture, Dr. Lesroy Henry, during an interview on March 25th, stated that last year, these dog attacks have reduced the small ruminants population by 20%. Dr. Henry said, in the first quarter, we had in the region of about 150 sheep and goats that were either killed or wounded by dogs, and in the second quarter, it went up to as high as 250. In the third quarter, it was somewhere in the area of 150 again, and in the last quarter, we had roughly 80. Chief Veterinary Officer Dr. Lesroy Henry continued, in all cases, these animals, whether they were killed or just wounded, would have posed a problem to our food security, and so we have to address this matter from a departmental point of view. Dr. Henry stated that the Department of Agriculture is encouraging farmers to build dog-proof pens to combat this problem. He stated that farmers would be provided with these materials, mostly by the Department of Agriculture.
So we gotta keep the dogs tied.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's wild dogs, because they're dogs that basically don't have any owners. They scavenge.
Oh, so they're looking for food.
And they form packs literally sometimes, and yeah, they look for food.
Wow. But we gotta control
It's
them.
being addressed. It's being
That's
addressed.
good, that's good. We continue now with our third story, climate change and the environment. The focus for Youth Month 2022, this from Win Media. The environment is the central focus of the Department of Youth in Nevis in the observance of Youth Month this April. Minister of Youth in the Nevis Island Administration, the Honorable Eric Evans said, I want to take this opportunity to encourage as many of our young persons as possible to participate in the activities of Youth Month 2022. They were specifically organized with you in mind. I'm also encouraging all to continue to support our young people in their endeavors. Youth Month will be held under the theme, What's New? A Green, Clean Youth Month 22, and will feature primarily green initiatives. The minister said the department will again seek to raise awareness of the negative effects of environmental degradation and how it is affecting all of us, as well as the urgent need to take action now to arrest the situation. Evelyn re-emphasized the need for continued focus on climate action while introducing and reintroducing that concept in the youth of the Federation as they are the advocates and decision makers of the future, he said. As we speak, sea levels continue to rise, threatening lives and livelihoods. Hurricanes are taking place more frequently and are becoming more intense. Animals from the extinct, temperatures are rising, droughts are becoming more frequent and more severe, and the patterns of rainfall have drastically changed.
Wow, I like that theme. And the Nevis Youth Empowerment Department, yes, it's addressing something topical.
I realize that, and all the young people over there, and we would have spoken to a few, they are really into this climate change, so I'm happy for that. So we know the next generation is in safe hands.
Yes, indeed.
So folks, there we have it for the local segment of our news. We will be right back after this brief break. Stay with us.
Children, how can you tell a tsunami coming?
Teacher me.
Sammy?
My mother said, when uncle jump in the pool and the water spoosh out, that's how you tell a tsunami coming.
Settle down, children, settle down. Do you remember our tsunami song?
Yes! When you feel it shaking and it's moving around, you see the ocean gone left with fish on the sand. You should run to high ground, a tsunami soon come. Mommy, uncle not here and the other shake.
Hush your mouth.
Daddy, uncle not here and the sea gone.
Who cares? You don't see all them free fish? Quick, give me the bag.
This is how you tell a tsunami a come. Teacher says so. I would have failed in school, you know.
Sammy, come, let me go. They would have failed anyhow. Let me run, see Sammy.
When you feel the earth shaking and it's moving all around, you see the ocean gone left the fish on the sand. You should run to higher ground, 'cause tsunami soon come.
Salt is an important part of the human diet, but most of us consume more than we realize.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We continue with the regional news. This from The Guardian. A seismic station located in Gigues, St. Vincent and the Grenadines was vandalized and equipment stolen earlier last week, according to a statement issued by the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO. The NEMO statement said, the Soufriere Monitoring Unit visited the site at Gigues on 30th March 2020, where a seismic station is installed. The wires to the seismic station were cut and the solar panel removed. The site was established in June 2021 after the explosive eruptions of the volcano. This means that no data is available from this site. NEMO added, the Emergency Management Organization is making an urgent plea for members of the public not to tamper with or remove any equipment that is used to monitor activity at the La Soufriere volcano. Dr. Esquilia, Joseph, director of the Seismic Research Center, expressed concern about the center's work being hampered by the incident. She said, "This station forms part of the improved network for monitoring the La Soufrière volcano. Without this equipment, we cannot monitor earthquakes or the volcano effectively. This is a real concern, as given the recent eruptions in 2020 to 2021, La Soufrière must be closely monitored at all times to ensure public safety." International.
Exactly. It must be monitored.
It must be monitored.
So they need to stop stealing. That's not fair.
Yeah, it affects everybody when things like that are done.
All of us. Because imagine the ripple effect it could cause on the ground.
Exactly.
We continue now with the international news. This from Al Jazeera. Mali's army said it has killed 203 combatants in an operation in the center of the Sahel state with the United Nations peacekeeping missions in the country, saying it has heard reports of civilians' death raising human rights concern. The army said on Friday that the military operation took place in the Mora region in central Mali from March 23rd to 31st. It arrested 51 people and seized large quantities of weapons, according to the army statement. The announcement comes as numerous social media reports in Mali this week allege that dozens of people, including civilians, had been killed in Mora. The AFP news agency was unable to verify the army's claim that told or the social media reports. Poor access to Mali's conflict areas and a relative lack of independent information sources means that figures provided by either the government or armed groups are difficult to confirm. The Mali military issued a statement after rumors on social media that 300 civilians were killed in the village of Mora, which they said was a terrorist fiefdom. They said they neutralized over 300 terrorists, said Al Jazeera's Nicholas Hawk, reporting from Dakar in neighboring Senegal. The fight continues for freedom.
Yeah, and sad news too, because right now a lot of emphasis is on Ukraine, but this is a reminder that there is conflict all over the world.
All over the world. All over the world. Wow. Well, folks, there you have it for regional and international news. We ask that you stay with us. We will be right back after these commercials.
Good morning. This is Carol from Lux Carnival, and I listen to Good Morning SKN.
Self-health management refers to the measures people take to manage their own health. You and I should remember to wash hands often with soap and water, or use alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid touching your eyes, mouth, and nose. Take your temperature morning and evening. Watch for symptoms. Persons with diabetes or hypertension are reminded to take your medication regularly as prescribed. If you have no symptoms, you may carry out your normal routine and boost your immune system. When you are outside, avoid public spaces and wear a mask at all times. If you develop symptoms, put on a mask and seek medical care. Do not take public transportation. Inform the doctor of your travel history, any contact with confirmed or suspected cases, your occupation, and whether anyone around you has similar symptoms. If you become ill, please rest at home. Wear a mask and isolate yourself from others in your household. If you share a bathroom, disinfect daily using 1 part bleach to 10 parts water. Everyone must work together to reduce the spread of the coronavirus.
everyone is encouraged to adopt a healthy and positive approach to daily life. Here are a few friendly reminders.
When you go to the local market and food vendors, remember to maintain a social distance of 6 feet or 2 meters apart. And always wear your mask.
Always keep your hands clean. Wash your hands with soap and water or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer.
When dining, choose restaurants with staggered seating. This will lower the risk of transmission.
If you have a fever, cough, or other respiratory symptoms, please wear a mask and seek medical care immediately. Rest at home and do not visit the food vendors, local markets, or restaurants.
As a hypertensive patient, in my home, I reduce salt intake by not adding salt during the preparation of my food, not having a salt shaker on my table, limiting the consumption of salty snacks, and choosing products with low sodium content. That's why I am salt smart.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. Natural Creations SKN is a family-owned business that offers natural handmade products. This business is committed to providing and promises to only offer pure, simple, and 100% natural products and innovations. Today, we warmly welcome Abigail Jeffers, co-founder of Natural Creations SKN, to tell us more about this. A pleasant good morning, Abigail, and welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, welcome.
You are welcome. So we'll dive right into the meat of things. Is there anything in particular that inspired you to pursue this business venture?
My inspiration was my oldest son. He has suffered from eczema for a long time. He would break out throughout the year with itchy bumps on the insides of his elbow, the back of his knees, the back of his neck. And we've been back and forth to dermatologists trying to find a solution. They constantly prescribed creams, steroids, ointments, nothing worked. So I decided to take it upon myself to start doing research. There are a lot of plants, herbs, medicinal plants that we can use to get healing. So that's where I got the inspiration to start making our own products, our own soaps, products that would give us adequate moisture in our skin, soaps, lotions, body butters, etc.
And that's good. And I noticed that you said that you're based in the US. So I also assume that the changing seasons would have certain times of the year where the temperature would cause our skin, black skin, to be drier. So does that apply there as well? Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. So did your upbringing in the Federation influence your pursuit of this business?
It sure did. From remembering from a little girl living in St. Kitts, we lived a natural life. Everything was from the earth, grew our plants, reared our animals. We never had snacks that were bought from a store. Our stacks were fruits. We picked fruits from the trees, passion fruits, guavas, made our own juices. Hardly anything was processed foods, so to speak. And I hold that upbringing really near and dear to my heart, and I try my best to teach it to my kids as well.
Nice. Any tropical flavors? You mentioned quite a few passion fruits and so on. Any scents or flavors in those natural products that you make?
Yes. One of my popular scents is mango passion.
Nice.
Actually smells like mango and passion fruit.
Cool. And the name, you tagged on, you didn't just say creations, you tagged on SKN.
Yes, I did.
All right.
And funny enough, many thought that SKN meant skin. And it gave me the opportunity, at least here in Georgia, to educate a lot of people about our island, our country. Encourage them to go and visit. You know, I told them that SKN actually meant St. Kitts and Nevis, which is where I'm from. You know, I take my roots with me wherever I go.
So you told us the type of products that you offer already. That includes your soaps, you said creams, you said moisturizers, etc., etc. Would you be able to tell us what are some of the ingredients that are used to create your products?
Sure. Some of the ingredients are I use coconut oil, cocoa butter, kokum butter, avocado oil, castor oil. Those are just a few that I do use.
So how is the American public responding to your products?
They're responding very well, very well. I'm very happy about that.
Okay, so how long have you guys been in operation?
We'll be 2 years this August. This was
Congrats.
a pandemic business that came about. It was part of the inspiration for the business too was it was more of a mental therapy to get through COVID in 2020.
So tell us a bit more about that, because at that point in time, persons were in lockdown or not able to go out. You mentioned your son has skin sensitivity. Did you guys go out much during lockdown?
We did not. We spent a lot of time at home. My husband and I were considered essential workers, so we had to go out and work. But our kids were at home. They did school at home. But it was a blessing in disguise because pre-pandemic, we're a very busy family, and the pandemic gave us a chance to really settle down and spend a lot more time together, and gave us more time too to research and get this business started.
Okay, good. So now that at least the less restrictions are enforced at the moment, how are you able to balance both? Because are you still an essential worker and you now have your natural creations SKN?
That's correct. Yes. I'm not going to say it isn't a challenge. It's work, but I'm very dedicated to it. I consider it to be a part of me, a part of what I do. I go to work, I get home, in between breaks or just being home a few hours here and there, that's the time I take to research, to make products. I don't spend a lot of time, say, behind the TV, just watching movies. You know, I really manage my time properly.
Okay, so the ingredients for your products, are any from the island of St. Kitts and Nevis?
None are from St. Kitts and Nevis, no.
Okay.
That's fine, but I'm so proud that you have not only started your own business, but you've also gone a step further and added your roots to that. So congratulations on that. And
thank you.
Viewing audience, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more from Abigail.
I'm here to St. Kitts, Nevis. You don't know if I must represent for the Ministry of Health. Yeah. Respect the COVID protocols. In a time like this, all for one for all. St. Kitts, Nevis. Don't forget your mask. Wear it everywhere you go. Sanitize before and after everything you do. Cause you never know what's on the surface of the places to go. Maintain a safe social distance between me and you. Keep calm and stay focused. Don't be a fool, seek the facts first and boost your immune system up. Don't wanna lose no more of us. Mass up furlough, sanitize, observe the protocols all about. Be wise, mass up furlough, sanitize, me family fitting boat.
Blessed love and greetings. This is Infamous, and I am here to encourage every Kittitian and Nivision to remember that we have our part to play in the fight against COVID-19. So sanitize, wear your face mask, practice social distancing, and go and get vaccinated. For me no know about you, but me love think it's bad. Easy no man.
Do you know that common baked goods such as bread and crackers are high in salt? Get salt smart.
It's been 6 months now and Glenn hasn't been working. His attitude has completely changed and he's been leaving the house every day for hours and liming with his friends and coming home drunk and causing confusion.
Gloria, this is what you cook today? This is not enough food for a big man like me.
But Glenn, it's been 6 months now. You haven't given me any money to shop for food.
Okay, so what you want me to do if my boss ain't called me out for work as yet?
Look for a different job now.
What you just said to me?
Get a next job.
What?
Help! Let me
Let
go!
go what? Yeah, let's see what we at. Let go what? Watch your mouth with me now.
Every day mom and dad fight. When are they going to stop?
Domestic violence is not just physical, it's mental, emotional, economical, and psychological. If you, your friend or family member is being abused, you can contact one of the numbers listed below for help. Department of Gender Affairs 662-5492, Special Victims Unit 662-7077, Counseling Unit 465-5000. This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and the Pan American Health Organization.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN, and we continue our discussion with Abigail Jeffers, the co-founder of Natural Creations SKN. Abigail, all of the soaps are natural, handmade using the cold-pressed method. Tell us a bit about that. How's it done?
So the cold process method is basically making soap at room temperature. You have options when you're making soap. You can make it at room temperature or you can make it on the stove. I choose to make it at room temperature because you choose whatever oils, butters you want for your soap. Sodium hydroxide, which is also called lye, that's also an ingredient that's needed to add to those butters so that it brings the butters and the water together to create what's called saponification. Saponification in layman's term is soap making. It allows the oils and the water to mix because normally they won't mix. So during that time of saponification, a lot of heat is given off. So that's why cold processed method means soaping at room temp. There is some heat, but there isn't additional heat by putting it on the stove.
That process sounds quite interesting. Now, the testing of your products, how is this done?
To test my products, it's my friends, family, co-workers. They test, tell me how it works for them. They give me tips on what they would like. They've gone as far as to ask me to make personalized soaps for them, different things they want in their soaps.
That's neat. So if, for instance, somebody requests a personalized soap, you then have to go and source the ingredients, and then I guess the process would be similar, but does that mean that there's an additional cost for custom-made soaps?
It depends on what they want in the soap. And if the ingredients are really expensive, then I would reach out to the customer and make them aware. But so far, all requests I've received, the pricing is around the same, because all the ingredients, the base ingredients, I would already have.
Okay, which leads to another question. What's your price range like?
For my soaps, the price range are from $4.99 US to $8.99 US, depending on the soap.
No, not bad at all.
And do you export? Since we're speaking about price range, do you export your soap to St. Kitts and any other countries around the world?
I've shipped to St. Kitts and St. Martin so far.
Okay. And do you have a page if we were interested in ordering soaps?
Yes, they can be ordered online. Payments are received through PayPal or any credit card, bank card.
So we just type in Natural Creations SKN and it will come up?
Yes.
Okay, lovely. Now your company also prioritizes recycling, repurposing, and reusing. Tell us, how do you accomplish this?
I reached out to a few small businesses in the area that are close to me. There is one called I Am Wonderful. It's a natural food store. They receive a lot of shipments and usually throw out a lot of packaging material, boxes, bubble wraps, etc. So they would save it for me, and I would go pick it up and I would reuse it. And at the same time, I purchased some of my ingredients from their store. So it's a win-win situation.
It is indeed. So how do you keep up with how does your creations keep up with the latest advancement in skincare?
My creations they push moisturizing. We constantly research. We research the different skin conditions out there. We talk with customers, find out what's going on, and we adjust based on the change in times.
Yeah, so that's research and development is key to any business.
It is.
Right. So what are some of the adaptations that you would have had to make over time? Has the process or even the marketing remained the same for you?
No, actually, since we launched, I have learned so much. Figuring out how to reach various customers, understanding that all customers aren't alike. As far as, for example, there are a lot of people who are computer savvy and can jump on the computer and find anything they want. Well, there are also many who don't like the computer, or older population, for example. So I had to figure out ways to reach that population, and that's by going out, being a vendor, going into various places that I know they frequent, offering, giving them the ability to pick up and not go through the shipping process. And a lot of people in St. Kitts also have reached out to me and have the desire to use my products. So I'm brainstorming and talking with different people to figure out how to get a base in St. Kitts, because everyone don't have access to PayPal or paying online. A lot prefer to pick up in store, go to the store, purchase, and pick up. So that's also a part of my research and wanting to grow as well.
Yeah, so where are some of the locations in Georgia in the meantime? Because you're working on the one for SKN. So where would someone find your stuff in Georgia? Because we do have some members of the diaspora who may see this clip, this show. So let them know where they can get your products.
So currently, all orders in the US are online. Everyone place their orders online, and I ship to customers throughout the US. I also work with another small business in Douglasville, Georgia, where I can house some of my products and customers go there to purchase and pick up. And it's called Flipped Antiques.
I like that name. What's sold there?
There are a lot of old, antique, nice furniture, stuff that you would use to decorate your homes, stuff you would use to put in your garden, anything antique, you would find it there.
Okay, so in closing, tell us where online we can make an order.
So you would go to my website. It's www.naturalcreationsskn.com.
Thank you. To viewers, stick and stay with us. We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more
my
than you
lovely
think.
people. I'm Chantel, residing in Taiwan. 12 hours time difference. It's nighttime here, morning time in SK. I'm busy and on the go. However, I always manage to keep up to date with what's happening in SK. All thanks to Good Morning SKN. Good morning SKN. Ciao, bango!
Let's face it, most parents or guardians don't want to think about their teens having sex, let alone contemplate the possibility that they might get pregnant or get someone pregnant. Teenage pregnancy is a situation that involves female adolescents. A teenage female can be pregnant as early as age 12 or 13, although it is usually 14 and older. The fact that teenagers become pregnant is related to many factors. Here are some tips to decrease teen pregnancy. Teach teenagers comprehensive sex education. Target messages at teen boys, not just girls. Get the whole community involved. Encourage mentoring, parental involvement, and support. This message was brought to you by Project Viola through the Department of Gender Affairs with support from the Basic Needs Trust Fund and the Caribbean Development Bank.
Did you know that there are certain seasonings that contain more salt than you actually need? There are more natural, healthier ways to reduce the salt intake in your dishes by using natural things like onions, garlic, seasoned peppers, and even thyme and merengue powder.
Has anyone ever touched you here, here, or here? Well, these are actually bad touches, not good ones. And so, if anyone ever touches you in these areas or anywhere else that makes you uncomfortable, you must say no, then go and tell. Say it with me. Say no, then go and tell.
This message was brought to you by the Department of Gender Affairs in collaboration with Probation and Child Protection Services, the Ministry of Health, and the Pan American Health Organization.
Children, how can you tell a tsunami coming?
Teacher me.
Sammy?
My mother said, when uncle jump in the pool and the water spoosh out, that's how you tell a tsunami coming.
Settle down, children, settle down. Do you remember our tsunami song?
Yes! When you feel it shaking and swimming around, you see the ocean gone like the fish on the sand. You should run, the higher ground, a tsunami soon come.
Mommy, Uncle not here in the other shake.
Hush your mouth.
Daddy, Uncle not here and the sea gone.
Who cares? You don't see all them free fish? Quick, give me the bag.
This is how you tell a tsunami a come. Teacher says so. I would have failed in school, you know.
Sammy, come, let me go. They would have failed anyhow. Let me run, see Sammy.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. World Consumer Rights Day is celebrated on the 15th of March. And this year, as every year, there is an aim to encourage awareness about consumer rights and needs across the world. Today, for our Good Morning SKNs Looking Back, we warmly welcome Paul Quealy, Director of Consumer Affairs. Mr. Quealy is here to tell us about how the Federation commemorated World Consumer Rights. Welcome.
Morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning,
welcome.
thanks for having me.
You're quite welcome. So the first question, how did Consumer Affairs commemorate World Consumer Rights Day?
Well, as you mentioned, World Consumer Rights Day is celebrated on the 15th of March, and within that week, we started our week of activities from the 13th to the 17th. We started with a church service at Zion Moravian Church on Sunday. Monday, we had our radio informative sessions where officers from the department went to various radio stations and they basically spoke about what the theme is about so that the general public can have an understanding of what is going on with the theme. On Tuesday, we had our businesses sensitization forum. And the purpose behind that was to inform various businesses around Bastia, mainly Port Zante, about what would be required of them under the new legislation that we have before the Parliament. There are a wide array of changes that will be coming with this document, so it was important that we highlight to them what will be required of them under the new legislation.
Can you tell us a bit about that then? What are some of the changes?
Well, the biggest change would be officers would be able to issue citations if persons are in breach of the act. Right? Many years past, we've been speaking to store owners about what they should do under the legislation, but the current legislation that we have, it does not have adequate teeth behind it.
No.
So we cannot really enforce it to the degree that we may want to. But with this new legislation, we will be able to do so.
When is it going to come on stream?
Once we finalize all the comments from the stakeholders, it should be ready for second reading, maybe in the second quarter of this year.
So, store owners, take heed.
Be mindful. So now that we're getting the dentures fixed, as you said, we're putting extra teeth to it. Can you explain to us what is a consumer, or who is a consumer?
Are you finished with the activities?
Not as yet.
Let's backtrack a bit and then we'll come back to that question.
On the 16th, which was the Wednesday, we had our staff retreat with our counterparts in Nevis, Nevis Consumer Affairs Department. to sort of strengthen the bond between both agencies so that we can work better together.
Okay.
On the 17th, which was the Thursday, we had a panel discussion, and the panelists were Alex Strawn from JADAP. We had Quincy Prentice from National Bank, and we had a representative from ECCB. The name is slipping at the moment.
That's okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the focus behind the panel discussion was to mainly speak about the theme, which was fair digital finance. You know, businesses are in this age, they're doing a lot of transactions online. You can buy food, you can get an Uber, you could do all sorts of things according to what part of the world you're in. So on the panel discussion, we basically highlighted how you should conduct your business, the safety mechanisms behind card transactions, if card companies are allowed to charge a minimum fee for using your debit card. Those are the things that customers may not be aware of.
So that's where the whole concept of the word fear comes in, because it has to be balanced.
Right.
Right. So it's not to take advantage of the consumer, but to
Not at
balance
all.
everything. Okay. But at the same time, the person selling the goods needs to get their share as well.
Yes, but you cannot get your share at the detriment of the rights of the consumers. So it's always important that we highlight what the rights of the consumers are and what the businesses can do under the current legislation from what they can do.
I like that.
So you asked me earlier what was a consumer.
What or who is a consumer?
A consumer is anyone who makes a transaction, either you're buying goods or services. It could be a school child buying a lollipop. Or it could even be an elderly person buying a wheelchair. So there's a very wide range and a host of different areas of transactions that could be going on in between there.
Okay. Right. So as you mentioned, it's not only material goods that we can touch, but also services where the whole concept of fair trade was discussed. Yes. Interesting. And what are some of the main consumer rights and responsibilities?
Well, please allow me to read them to you.
Sure.
The right to basic needs, right? The right to safety, the right to information, which is information on labels, so that you can know what is in the packet, what is in the product, if it has any allergens or anything. The right to choose, and that is a fundamental right that persons seem to overlook sometimes. They don't seem to understand the power that consumers have. You can take your business elsewhere, so that is why you have the right to choose. The right to redress, if you have an issue with an item, you're supposed to be afforded the opportunity to have someone hear your concerns and remedy your concerns.
Interesting, because I can actually think of situations where someone might have a concern, but there is so many persons in the chain before it reaches to you. They might say, well, I did not make this product. So how would you deal with a situation like that? Because they weren't the manufacturer, but they were selling it on the premise that the product could do this for the consumer.
Well, you see, that is where warranties would come in too, because if you're selling a product, a warranty is supposed to be behind that product. And you, as the salesperson for that item, you are acting basically as a middleman if you purchased it from someone overseas. So if something goes wrong with that item, you're responsible for remedying what issue that product has, whether it is refunding the person or exchanging the item. Number 6, you have the right to representation, which is what the Consumer Affairs Department does. We represent the consumers who have issues. The right to consumer education, and we do that as well. This is part of it. And the right to a healthy environment.
Okay. Now you mentioned something that I want to ask a question on. in terms of labeling, you mentioned in terms of ingredients, but what about if the label is in a foreign language and there's no English next to it?
Well, at this moment, there is no current legislation that would say it has to have English on there.
Okay.
But the new legislation that I spoke of earlier, it specifically states that you have to have English on the item, or it will be removed from the shelves.
Oh, okay, because we have lots of importers that are not importing from English-speaking countries. So, so they have other languages, and we are not even able to sometimes understand the ingredients. So, you know.
Well, what we used to tell store owners is, especially food items, you could put your own label on there stating what the item is. So that is one route that we took with store owners. But until the legislation actually comes into force, we will not be able to actually penalize them, I would say, for having them there.
Okay. So in what ways can consumer make more informed choices?
Consumers would have to pay more attention to the items that they're purchasing. If you see an item today, it's for $5, and tomorrow you go back, it's for 25 cents. You would have to really focus on that item closely too. There's a strong possibility if it's a food item
it's expired,
that it's almost about to be expired.
Okay.
So, another thing, if you're purchasing, let's say you're purchasing building materials, you would have to find out from the store owner what are the terms and conditions for purchasing these, because we've had instances where persons purchase building materials, I'm not going to say from where.
Don't.
And if they wanted to return the items, the store would say that you have to pay a restocking fee. Now, building materials are very expensive. So if you have to pay a restocking fee,
it's more expensive.
It's going to be a high amount, all right? So you really have to pay attention to what are the terms and conditions of your purchasing. So.
Nice. You mentioned a drastic drop in the price. What about the increase in the price every 2 days? Because that's what we face now. Every time we go to the supermarket, it's like, but yesterday I paid $5, today it's $7. Like, what's up with, what's going on?
Well, everybody would be aware of the global crisis with shipping shortages and shortages in goods. And, yeah, but the situation that was explained to us from supermarkets is they may have an item in stock for one price. When they get the other item at the higher price, they average them out. So the average, more than likely, will be higher than the original price that was there.
Okay, now Mr. Quilly, very interesting conversation, and we're going to continue right after this short break.
Everyone is encouraged to adopt a healthy and positive approach to daily life. Here are a few friendly reminders.
When you go to the local market and food vendors, remember to maintain a social distance of 6 feet or 2 meters apart. And always wear your mask.
Always keep your hands clean. Wash your hands with soap and water or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer.
When dining, choose restaurants with staggered seating. This will lower the risk of transmission.
If you have a fever, cough, or other respiratory symptoms, please wear a mask and seek medical care immediately. Rest at home and do not visit the food vendors, local markets, or restaurants.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. We are speaking with Paul Quilly, the Director of the Consumer Affairs Department. And we were digging deep into some of the concerns of consumers, one of which was the rising cost of living, which seems to be affecting everybody. But do you have any advice for us in terms of how consumers can advocate for those rights that you just mentioned?
Well, one way, as I mentioned earlier, is that consumers have the right to choose. So if you realize that a business place has an item for a very high price and another has it for somewhat low, you could patronize the business where the price is low. But what I find happening in St. Kitts is we tend to argue a lot, and we do not realize the power that we have as consumers, as I mentioned earlier. If you decide you're going to take your business to another establishment, only two things could happen. Is either the business with the higher price, they're going to lower the price, or they're going to stop selling that particular item. So we must always be mindful of the power that we have as consumers. I wanted to touch on one thing, which is food prices, as we're on that right now. I wanted to inform the public of what are the price-controlled food items. And these are chicken frozen, meats frozen, fish frozen, meat salted in brine, fish salted in brine, which is like your your saltfish, sorry.
Yes.
Vienna sausage, cornmeal, dried peas, cereal, butter, margarine, pasta products, cheese, sardines, tuna, and fish, fresh fruits and vegetables, toothpaste, lard, disposable diapers, adults and children. But what I wanted to highlight is that these items are subjected to, the frozen items are subjected to a 25% markup, and the dry items are subjected to a 20% markup. Now, these items do not make up all the food items that you would find in a supermarket, and I think that's where the kind of misconception comes in with the public. All foods are not price controlled. It is only these items that are in the food basket are price controlled, but the price control mechanism is based on the landed cost of these items.
Okay.
So the 25% and the 20% is based on what the landed cost is at the port.
Okay. So how will consumers know if the markup is within the 25%? Because as Kortensia mentioned, the rate at which the prices are going up, the store could simply say, oh, well, the price has gone up.
Well, we do our internal checks. We get information from customs. Sometimes we get information on particular items if we realize that the prices have jumped drastically. Because officers from the department, they do their weekly checks at the supermarkets. So we would be able to see fluctuations in prices. So we do our internal checks, and if we realize that the price is actually higher than what it is supposed to be based on the markup, we would have a discussion with the wholesaler to actually find out why that is the case.
Okay. So you guys have a very important job.
I would say so. We get a lot of licks for it sometimes.
So we're not going to bid goodbye to our guest, Mr. Quilly, just yet. When we come back, we're going to have a little portrayal for you that includes two ladies talking about what goes on in their community called Consumer Rights Arrest. Stay tuned.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
These teen boys nowadays get me so upset. I see these teen girls with their big bellies and you want to tell me y'all couldn't protect her and yourself? Come on. Now don't tell me no stupidness about you feel embarrassed about getting a pack of condoms or asking somebody for one. That ain't nothing to be ashamed about. You should be proud that you are making a wise decision, but you still have to abstain from having sex with someone under the age of consent. If your boys are pressuring you to have sex and you don't want to, then don't. You are in charge of your life, not them. I heard another one saying it's sweeter without a condom. But my granny always told me, no glove, no love. So let me tell you something. It's sweeter to have money in your pockets and not have to support a child at that young age. Before I say anything else, the best way to prevent teenage pregnancy is to abstain. In other words, no do it. Let me talk to the big men troubling underage girls.
Why you sleeping with your daughter? You not live clean. Your girl at 16 and your daughter at 13. So girl a look me, but me no inna that. Big man no deal with back pan back.
You understand where I'm coming from, right?
This message was brought to you by Project Viola through the Department of Gender Affairs with support from the Basic Needs Trust Fund and the Caribbean Development Bank.
No cash, no card, no problem. Jad, embrace the freedom.
Girl, it's good to see you. How are you doing?
Good, good. What about you?
I'm doing okay. But I really have to tell you about this experience I had the other day. I went into this store and I buy this product, and then when I reach home now, it was a lamp. And I got a good price, and I'm saying to myself, this is perfect. You know, I do go on Zoom and them kind of things. And so I say, this can light up my space. You know, when I reach home, what it say on the box, the lamp couldn't do. The lamp was like dim.
So you didn't get a good look whilst on Zoom or whilst doing your YouTubing or anything?
Nothing.
Oh, man.
So I was so upset, and I started to cuss and abuse and everything. But then again, I said, you know, let me calm down. You know, I really wonder what those people at Consumer Affairs would tell me about a situation like this.
I wonder what they would say.
This situation falls under misleading and deceptive conduct. When you have a product, you cannot advertise that it can do a particular thing when it actually cannot. You're basically misleading the consumer, and it is illegal against the law.
So they heard it here first. It's illegal.
You ever had any situation where something like that happened to you?
Let me tell you. Well, not the lighting, because... So I went into a store. I think, I'm not sure, I don't remember touching it, but as soon as I passed by, I heard crash. So I look back, so I'm saying like, I don't think I break that, but then they're saying I broke it because they look on their camera and it seemed like part of my body touched it, and I did not realize that I touched it. Oh my God, so now I had to take $50 out of my purse to pay for something that I did not intentionally broke. I wonder what Consumer Affairs would do about that.
Unfortunately, this does not fall under our legislation. Consumers would have to be mindful when they're in establishments, and this would have to be an issue that would be resolved between the consumer and the store owner. Because even though we're trying to protect the rights of consumers, we can't have situations where persons feel as though they can do as they please in someone's establishment and destroy merchandise.
Alrighty, so we heard it here first.
So I also experienced something else, you know, and I don't know, boy, but I think sometimes it's just saying kids, but then because I've never really experienced this kind of thing elsewhere. I've traveled, you know, like the plane. So, but all this time here now, what, over 2 years or so, me traveling because not this COVID thing, you know. But anyway, when I went to this restaurant the other day, I ordered my food and everything. The waiter come to me. I don't know, maybe I take too long to place my order. I don't understand, but the waiter there started to give me some word. I don't know, bad mood, I don't know, maybe he brings something from home to work. I can't tell you what the problem was. So I want to know, in the case of services, Consumer Affairs have anything to do with that? What do you think the man from Consumer Affairs would say to me?
I wonder.
Yeah.
Let's listen in.
This also is not covered under our legislation, as this is a customer service issue. I think the patron would have to inform the manager or supervisor about the incident and see how it could be resolved there on the spot. But these things are not covered under consumer protection legislation. Consumer protection legislation mainly focuses on the transaction side.
So I went into a store and I bought a refrigerator. So I know these things are normally under warranty. So I didn't ask about the extra warranty or anything.
Right.
So went home with my refrigerator, enjoying it for 3 months. Refrigerator stopped working. I take the refrigerator back to the establishment. You know what they tell me?
What they say?
No warranty. I be like, on a refrigerator?
I know.
I wonder what Consumer Affairs would do about that.
I really don't know.
Oh, gosh.
Under the legislation, all products should be sold with a warranty. There are two types of warranties. Implied warranty, that is if it does not have that specified card that states the period of the warranty. You should have an implied warranty of 6 months. And an explicit warranty, which is the card which I just mentioned, which comes with a variety of products. It would also specify the time period for the warranty, which is no less than 6 months. So all items, whether it specifically has it with the card or it doesn't, in an implied warranty state, you would still be entitled to a 6-month warranty window.
Girl, you know, I still had more experiences, you know?
You just seem unlucky.
I don't know. I need to stop shopping. I went into this store and I bought, I think it's some socks. Some socks for my girls and everything. So, and I got home, I realized they couldn't fit. You know? My girl's growing still, so. And then I went back to the store, and you know, the man showed me a sign, and the sign wasn't even obvious. The sign was like kind of down here. It said, no refunds. All sales are final. And I was like to myself, and then how it's so inconspicuous, this sign kind of below. So, you know, when you go in the store and you're buying, you didn't see it. I didn't.
Yeah.
And then he showed me the sign. You think that's something that Consumer Affairs could address?
It should be.
Okay.
All signs should be visible for the consumer to see in clear view. But if you purchase an item and genuinely it was purchased in error or the size is incorrect, the store owner should be able to take it back for you. The sign that was mentioned previously is flat out illegal. It's going against what is stipulated in the Consumer Protection Act. And although businesses can set their own policies, you cannot go against what is in the Act. So all stores will not be able to put up signs stating that you cannot return an item.
Viewers, we'll be right back after the short commercial break.
cash, no card, no problem. Jad, embrace the freedom.
Bless up, Dejo here, and I'm doing my part in the fight against COVID-19 by following all safety protocols and most importantly, rolling up my sleeve for the vaccine. So I'm encouraging you to do the same because that's our best shot of protecting ourselves, our family, and our friends. So don't wait, vaccinate. Let's roll up to roll out.
Yeah. I know we can make it. It's only just a phase. Once we're vaccinated, and everybody gonna be safe. Everybody gonna be safe. One kind, yeah. One people. We are roll up to roll up. Yeah. Cause no man's alone. Do what's right. Alright. Cause I love you. Brother, my sister. And we're in this together. My sister, my brother. I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much. I think it's better for us, yeah, yeah. It's better for us. Hey, I don't wanna lose you. I love you too much, yeah, yeah. It's better for us. Tell your mommy to roll up to roll out.
Most people consume excess salt from processed foods, such as snack foods, processed meats, instant meals, and condiments.
Instead, use fresh vegetables, ground provision, fresh meats, and natural herb seasonings, just like our grandparents did, and just like you did with this soup. We are Salt Smart.
Good morning, this is Carol from Lux Carnival, and I listen to Good Morning SKN.
Salt is an important part of the human diet, but most of us consume more than we realize.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. That was a fun way of finding out from Paul Quilly about how to go about acting upon our rights that we have as consumers. But it's now time for us to loosen up. In the same vein as consumerism, we are now going to discuss our favorite things we have bought for the year thus far. So what have you bought for the year?
What was my most interesting thing for the year? I guess stuff for my pet.
Your pet's lucky. My most
my
interesting purchase for the year would have been my car because I needed to replace the other one. So that's the only purchase I did for the year because believe it or not, audience, this woman does not like to shop.
That was an expensive purchase.
I know. Very expensive purchase indeed. Yeah.
So did you have to look into any of the things that Paul discussed with us? Everything was as you expected on the vehicle?
Let me tell you, I do not know anything other than I put money towards buying a vehicle. My husband did all the specs.
Okay.
That's his area of expertise, so I let him handle it. I don't ever look over my shoulder. Is it bad to say I don't pay any interest? But that's the truth. But yeah.
Yeah, because it would have come with certain expectations on your part that it could do this, that it could do that. Because, you know, sometimes even with vehicles, owners experience lemons, as they say, and some of the things do not work. Yeah, well, I'm happy that you're happy with the vehicle.
Well, me personally, I always said coming up, I wanted a Ross car, believe it or not. Initially, I had a Ross car that I enjoyed, but then I had to give up my Ross car. Yeah, but I don't know. I think the car is more for my husband than me. I only drive from point A to B, but it's true because he experiments with everything on it. I don't. I just need to know that I can get to work, get back to work, get to the supermarket, get back, yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah, so my pet purchase, what was it? I was trying to find a particular brush because I have a little chihuahua.
Okay.
And we have to take him to the groomers. So the brush, well, sometimes we don't even brush him properly. So I need a brush that will take out all the knots that he would have accumulated because we don't brush him regularly. So that was an interesting purchase. For me, personally, clothes, I guess. So I'm one of those persons who does like to shop for clothes. Sometimes it's mostly for my other family members, my girls, but I do try and make sure that I pick up something for myself along the way. So I've gotten some new outfits. So that was cool.
No, not me. No. Anything that I've gotten, I can't even say where I get them from because I'm going to share myself. But no, I'm not a shopper. I'm not a shopper.
Okay.
Even in the supermarket for myself, I normally get everything that everyone else needs. And then I realize, oh, I didn't get my kale, I didn't get my milk, I didn't get... So I look out for everybody else first before I look out for myself. So I guess I'm not a shopper, and I shop like a guy. I would go in the I will go in wherever and say like, I need these socks. Get the socks and you will not see me perusing on anything else. No. But I may have to shop today though. I think I need some shoes. So yeah, today I'll be buying some shoes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that'll be my
But
thing
in the supermarket, as Paul just mentioned, we have to be very careful. You yourself mentioned the rising prices. So you'll find that today people now having to go to various supermarkets.
And we wasting gas.
In the process of doing that. Because whereas once ago you could have just gone into one and bought everything, it's not cost effective to do that anymore. So we have to go one shop, drive, as you said, waste gas. Well, not really waste, but you know what I mean.
But we're not maximizing on our gas because let me say this, myself and you might meet in Value Mart. Next thing, I'm seeing you again at Rams and Camps.
That happens.
Or at Best Buy.
That happens.
Because we're just hopping. So we think we're saving money, but we're putting that money back in the car with the gas that we are using as we go from the various supermarkets to get what we want, just to save maybe a few cents or $1.
Now sometimes it's more than a few.
Yeah. Oh my word.
Sometimes it's more than a few now.
The inflation is real.
Inflation is real.
Yeah, it is real.
It is real.
Yeah.
So we have to do our best to make efficient purchases.
But we're not making efficient. It's not efficient at all. It's not efficient at all when we have to move from store to store to store. It's not. It's not.
So it makes me wonder as well in things like equipment, certain businesses. For example, if I'm a photographer, I'm going to need certain types of equipment, regular things to maintain my equipment, things like cards on which I can film my stuff and so forth. I mean, situations like that in terms of purchases must be also tricky, because even in the delay now, in terms of the arrival of supplies.
I was just going to tell you that, because even if you order it online and think you're safe, you're not safe, because the flights aren't regular. They have storms. They have all kind of things
Delays.
that come up. Yeah,
Things that cause delays.
Yeah,
and especially if you're in a business that needs certain things to arrive on time.
Yep.
Then you're faced with this kind of situation, because you have an event that you're planning for. If you're an event planner, you want this type of decorations and so forth, and you place the order, and it's for a month ahead, and the date comes,
and you have
and you are there trying to find local products to fill that void.
This is why we, in the Federation, I think we should just start doing things that we think I must say, fill the gap if we don't get the stuff from overseas, because I be seeing people texting and saying all kind of stuff about certain shippers, like, I want my stuff. It says it's in transit this long and I can't get my This is why I don't order things. See, I have nothing to say to the people that are shipping.
So in other words, you're opening up the point about finding your niche, especially now in this environment, and we can't even say COVID environment anymore. It's COVID and war environment.
Yeah, because COVID is ongoing now. It's not stopping. Every time we think we're going to get a break,
I think so.
a next variant.
Yep.
It needs to go away.
And then they need to make peace over in Ukraine.
Yeah. I pray for them every day. I pray that the war goes, COVID goes, and life come back to some form of normalcy.
I'm happy you put it that way.
Yeah.
Because it could never go back to how it was before.
No.
But definitely, we can hope. A measure of normalcy.
So, are you going to buy anything today? I'm going to buy shoes. What are you going to buy? Not today. Okay.
Staying out of that supermarket.
But we can't stay out of the supermarket because we need to feed ourselves.
We need to eat.
We need to feed ourselves. So, folks, with that said, we won't be making any unnecessary purchases, but we will be buying what we need. So we hope you will follow the same trend as us. We advise that you stick and stay. We will be right back after this brief break.
Salt is an important part of the human diet, but most of us consume more than we realize.
You ever hear Earthquake call and say, "Hello, Miss Lee, yes, it's me, Earthquake, I come in Tuesday around 10? No, sir. Earthquake does arrive unannounced, and when it come, it shake all sense and sensibility out of we. Remain calm, stay inside, and do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Once the shaking starts, you know it's earthquake. Make a quick move to a safe place. Don't run to the door, we are in the exit. Stairs might block up or full of people. Elevator, avoid that, because you might get in and poof, power gone, and you're stuck in that box without ear. Take cover under a strong table or a bed, or crouch against an inside wall or in a corner, and cover your face and your head with your arms. Remember, DCH, drop, cover, hold on. Glass windows and doors, outside walls and doors in an earthquake, bad news. Take care yourself. Most injuries during earthquakes happen when something drop and hit people entering or exiting a building. Last thing, nobody run outside and ask, you feel it, you feel it? Remain calm, stay indoors until all the shaking stop, and do the DCH, drop, cover, hold on.
I going out tonight. I got a hot date. He older than me, but I don't care. I like what he telling me. He say I look sweet and ting. What? You want me go home with him? Nice. Boy, I wonder if I'm ready for this. I notice he ain't got a condom, but I gonna go ahead, see? He might think me ain't like him or trust him. Plus, this is my first time. Nothing gonna happen to me. Lord, how could I let this happen? I ain't ready for no child. Who can support me and my child? My man gone jail and mommy and daddy said they ain't gonna help. I all on my own. How could I be so careless? I wish I could go back to that now. But my education on hold. How could I let this happen? Don't let this happen to you. Contact the Department of Gender Affairs to find out about confidential offices and personnel available to answer questions about your sexuality or pre- or postnatal concerns.
This message was brought to you by Project Viola through the Department of Gender Affairs with support from the Basic Needs Trust Fund and the Caribbean Development Bank.
Welcome back to Good Morning SKN. Last Saturday, the 2nd of April, there was an international celebration of World Autism Awareness Day. This day is particularly slated for raising awareness about persons living with autism spectrum disorder. And this is done on an international scale. Today, Dr. Josephine Claxton, Director of the St. Kitts Spectrum Services Center, is here to enlighten us about autism spectrum disorder as one means of commemorating the day that was acknowledged internationally on Saturday, April 2nd. Welcome, Dr. Claxton.
Thank you.
So first off, can you tell us, did the Spectrum Center celebrate Autism Awareness Day and how?
So we're celebrating now. So Cotton Thomas Comprehensive celebrated last week, and they did a host of many different things from T-shirt, Wear Blue, and they actually did some media talks, and they had an Adopt an Autism child. And that was really interesting because what they did, they actually, a child with autism within their school actually went to the class of the teachers that didn't have any children with autism. So I thought that was a really good initiative. So they did quite a lot of things to begin autism awareness month, and that's because the school are closed and the students will not be in school this week. So for the centre now, we're starting this week, and the first start is here on Good Morning SKN.
Nice, we're privileged.
Thank you. And then staff team this afternoon will be going on Dominion Radio, and it will be a staff member, parent, also an advisory committee member, and a lady called a counsellor. So those four will be going on and giving a talk on Dominion Radio. And then the rest of the sessions tomorrow, Dr. Cheryl Rosen, who helped to found the centre, will be doing a session, and it's a webinar, and she will be discussing early diagnosis intervention, and so that will be her discussion on the 5th, and that's the webinar. People can register for that, and that will start at 6 p.m. Eastern Central Time. And we are working in collaboration with Antigua. So those webinars, there'll be a series of webinars. Starts with Dr. Cheryl Rosen, like I said, tomorrow. And then on the 19th of April, there will be myself, Dr. Claxton Richardson. There will also be Mona Gardiner and a lady called Deborah Santiago. And we'll be doing it in the classroom, and that's a panel discussion. And then following that, to round off, will be Deborah Worthman, and she will be looking at from adolescence to adulthood, and that will be on the 26th of April. So those are some of the things that we will be doing, and also for the centre, we're going to have an interactive session, and that will be parents. They asked for an interactive session, and that hopefully will be hosted by the counsellor, Miss Jasmine Brown, and that will be on Sunday the 24th from 2 to 3:30. And we will have some sessions also, some activity sessions for the children, and that's in St. Kitts. We're going to do the same thing in Nevis, and we've yet to confirm the date and time of that. So just to tell you what's happening during the month of autism.
Right. So before I forget, maybe you could look directly into that camera and give the information pertaining to the webinar, since that's the next activity coming up.
Okay, so the webinar, like I said, will be tomorrow, the 5th of April, Dr. Cheryl Rosen. Then the 19th of April will be a panel discussion with Dr. Claxton Richardson, Deborah Santiago, and Mona Gardner, who's the lady from Antigua.
Okay.
And on the 26th of April, Deborah Mertman, she'll be talking from adults, from adolescence to adulthood. And she has 2 children, does this, I mean, all the webinars are going to be good. So I ask people to, you know, register and join as much as you can, because they're going to be very informative.
Right.
And Deborah Wortman, she has 2 children on the spectrum.
Oh.
And so they're adults now, and so they're going to come on and talk about their journey. So I think that will be really good for persons who have autistic children. So please tune into those sessions, register and tune in.
Okay.
Okay, so Dr. Claxton, can you explain to us what exactly is autism and how can it be identified in persons?
Okay. So, yes, I can. So autism is a developmental disability, and it affects, they say 1 in 68, the statistics are 1 in 68 persons, with boys being 4 times more likely to have autism than girls. And I say that, but Deborah Wortman's done quite a lot of work looking at girls with autism. And one of the things that I did some training with her, one of the things that she made us understand was that girls are good at masking. So even though they may have autism, they're good at socializing and fitting in. So that's one of the things I took from what she did in one of the trainings that I did with her. So, I mean, for persons who want to look out for what we call red flags, a lot of the time children, autistic children, and prior to diagnosis, some of the things that you might see is that they may have started talking because it affects communication and sensory issues. So they might have started talking, and parents will say, well, they started talking or babbling, and then at the age of 2, they stopped. And so there may be some of the things that persons may see as an issue. Also, the children may have repetitive behaviors. This could be anything from lining up cars, you know, just doing things over and over again. We might be some echolalia, which is the echo. So if you say to me, good morning, say good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh.
How you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing? So that's what we call echolalia.
Okay.
So the echo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
So the
right.
echo, so they might just repeat what you're saying. There may be, people call it having meltdowns. So the child may be on the floor crying and screaming. People might say, that child's rude. Not necessarily they're being rude. Some of the areas, the sensitivity, it may be too much, too overwhelming. We don't even know half of what's going on for the children on the spectrum. And one parent spoke to me, she says that her son would actually, he was able to verbalize, able to say to exactly what was going on for him, that he could hear so many things. It was so intense, so much for him. And so that might lead to some of the sensory overload, sensory issues. There might be the stimming. So children may be rocking back and forth. There may be unusual finger movements that people might see. And sometimes it's not as simple as that, but parents, you really have to look for what's going on. So red flags that people may identify as some of those things. The speaking, the lack of communication, selective speech, so they'll speak when they want to speak. So those type of things. Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting, because and what I also found interesting was what you said about girls being able to mask. So when would be the on average the age at which we would be able to see some of these red flags, as you termed them? Because you know, once ago, I guess our generation would have said something like, oh, they're just strange.
Yeah.
How, about what age? Because you mentioned maybe starting to babble as all children do, and then later not being able to continue to progress into speech, full-blown speech. at approximately what age we'd be able to see these red flags?
Some diagnoses can be made as early as 6 months, but we don't have all of the equipment to do that. So we look at the eye movement and see those things. So we would actually diagnose from the age of 18 months. And 18 months. Early intervention is key.
Okay.
So we have diagnosed as young as 18 months, and 2 years is when a lot of parents notice. They see, some parents said they've seen things earlier, as young as 6 months, but they just can't put the finger on it. The child's not looking at them when they're feeding them. You know, there's none of that eye contact that would go on. Like we're watching each other now, we have the eye contact.
Yeah.
A lot of the time that's avoided for a lot of children on the spectrum. Yeah.
Okay.
Some of them don't even like people to touch them, so that's the thing, hugging them. And one parent even said, you know, my child doesn't even want me to hold them as a baby. They would not want that hugging.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. Dr. Claxton will be right back after this short commercial break. So viewers, don't go anywhere.
Did you know that there are certain seasonings that contain more salt than you actually need? There are more natural, healthier ways to reduce the salt intake in your dishes by using natural things like onions, garlic, seasoned peppers, and even thyme and merengue powder.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
I wear a mask because I want to protect my child, but also I want to protect his classmates and his teachers.
I wear a mask because I care about the frontline workers who will have to work even harder if those around me get sick.
I wear a mask to protect my family. I wear a mask to protect you. I wear a mask because it is the right thing to do.
I wear a mask because I don't want to put any vulnerable individuals at risk, like my elderly loved ones.
I wear a mask because
we are all in this together.
Let's face it, most parents or guardians don't want to think about their teens having sex, let alone contemplate the possibility that they might get pregnant or get someone pregnant. Teenage pregnancy is a situation that involves female adolescents. A teenage female can be pregnant as early as age 12 or 13, although it is usually 14 and older. The fact that teenagers become pregnant is related to many factors. Here are some tips to decrease teen pregnancy. Teach teenagers comprehensive sex education. Target messages at teen boys, not just girls. Get the whole community involved. Encourage mentoring, parental involvement, and support. This message was brought to you by Project Viola through the Department of Gender Affairs with support from the Basic Needs Trust Fund and the Caribbean Development Bank.
We are speaking with Dr. Josephine Claxton, the director of the St. Kitts Spectrum Services, and we ended the previous section by talking about, Dr. Claxton, some of the red flags that we could look at, and I guess, how does this affect parents themselves or mothers? Is it something that can be anticipated or prevented?
And that's a very good question, because what I find is that when parents, and particularly mothers, when they come into the centre, they feel guilty. So they're always looking to look at themselves and say, that, you know, I did something, I could have done something different. And one of the things for the parents to bear in mind that they haven't done anything wrong. This is just, it's a developmental disability, and they have it's not about what they did it's about going forward and working with
Right.
the child at where they're at now.
Okay, that's good to know.
Getting that support.
Right.
And I think society can be very cruel. So the stigmas in society prevent some parents from coming forward.
Yes.
And some parents from, just seeking that help and finding out. So they would enroll children into the schools and may know that there's something not right. And so a lot of the time then we end up with behavioural issues. And so we need to make sure that early intervention is key. It's important for that early intervention.
So isn't that one of the roles of the Spectrum Center? Tell us a bit about how it came into being. And you mentioned one of the persons who will be on one of the webinars. Maybe you can develop that a little bit more.
Yeah.
How did the Spectrum Center come into being?
Yeah, so it's really interesting because it started with the Marshalls, Marissa Marshall and her husband. And they have a son, Matthew, who is autistic. But they didn't know at the time. And so they brought Matthew to myself and Mrs. Blanchett, the principal of Kortensia Comprehensive. And we assessed Matthew at the time. Assessment is one thing, and he got a diagnosis at that time to say that he was autistic. And giving a diagnosis is another, but we diagnosed and gave the diagnosis, but that was it. Where does a child with autism go then after they've had that diagnosis? And through Marissa and her husband's search for what next, they actually searched and they came across, Dr. Rosen was introduced, they were introduced to Dr. Rosen, and she then, she works out of Florida and has her own clinic and was able to offer them some therapy. And it was 6 weeks intensive play therapy that the parents were able to go to in Florida. And during that time, Marissa was able to see that this therapy really worked, because Matthew, who wasn't speaking at the time, was able to have that. We looked for things like shared attention and engagement and communication, and he was able to have those things and share that with her. And that was so much for her. It was magical for her at that time, and probably the husband as well. And so Marissa, being who she is, came back and said, we need this in St. Kitts. And so Dr. Rosen would come in and work at the University of Health and Medical Sciences, and she would see children there. She would assess and she would offer the tips of play therapy to the families. And then she would go back, and then she would come back and do this again and realize that, no, we need more than that. We need to have a centre here. So in collaboration with Health and Ministry of Education and a cohort of persons, Yasmin Powell, Charmaine Blanchett, Mrs. Jacobs, Miss Gums, and other people, they were able to sit together and look at how the centre could look and collaborate on that. And hence the centre was in the 4th of September 2018, and that's when the centre came about.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So, Miss Dr. Claxton, we understand that you were a teacher. So,
yes.
Being a teacher, is this the reason that you work with kids that have autism?
No.
Okay. Just one.
No, it's not the reason. And I was actually thinking about this, and my history of wanting to work with persons with disabilities goes right back to when I was younger. And so I remember volunteering in the UK at an organisation called FAB, Physical Handicapped and Able-Bodied, before I even left school. So I volunteered in that capacity, working with persons with disability. And then from then I went into nursing. So I did my nurse's training and became a qualified nurse. And while I was nursing, I thought, I need more. The patient, I was just seeing to the patients, but not having that discussion and looking at, well, what your needs are. And then I saw a lady come onto the ward and I thought, her job looks interesting. And she was a social worker. So I then went to university and did my degree in social work. And also my teacher training. And so then when I came to St. Kitts, I came looking to work within social care. And at that time, there wasn't an opening there. And then that's when I put my resume in and was called by Miss Cotton at that time, who was at the special education unit. And hence, that's when I began to work even deeper with persons with disabilities. So I've always had that. And it came full circle, interesting enough, when I came to St. Kitts. So yes.
Good.
Okay, so very solid background.
Yeah.
So have you personally benefited from this type of work, working with persons who need extra assistance?
Oh yes, it's very rewarding. you see the challenges that they go through, you see the stigma, you see you have to have, and the staff team always say that you have to have the love and the passion for this area of work. And I really love and enjoy what I do. I enjoyed the times with the parents, just that support you give them, the times with the children, and just for people to bear in mind that autistic children are very sensitive, so they will pick up any negative really quickly. We just don't realize that. Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay. So can persons in the public assist in the center or support parents and individuals with autism spectrum disorder?
Yes, I would like to just say to the public, we need volunteers.
Okay.
So we need volunteers, we need people who have the passion to work with persons, autistic children and families. We've set up what we call a social group for our children, because we put them together on a Thursday, so we need volunteers for that session. And so if persons feel that they can help, we're looking for that. We need monetary contributions. The centre's housed in the industrial site, and we know that we need space. And so the idea was for us to get a facility because we're only doing part of the play project, play therapy, and there's other things. We need OT, we need speech and language pathologists. So if there's anybody out there that can help us with any financial way to get a building, to get the sensory equipment's already earmarked. So we just need a building. If you've got a building, please come forward and tell us and help us out. But also I'd like to say to the public and to young people, as you're thinking of your career, think about doing a career in speech and language pathology, in occupational therapy, in working with children with autism. Autistic children don't have to be, as Cotton Thomas, they can be placed in mainstream. So please, just that support. Don't think, they've got on the spectrum and they can't learn. Yes, they can learn, but they need us to encourage, they need that support, they need that love, and they need the passion for people to come forward and support the centre. So please, if you can support us, we will be happy. And please log into the webinars and find out more information about autism.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Dr. Paxton. Yes, it was very informative. And we hope that we, as well as our viewers, can, reduce things like stigma and so forth, because we now have had your information to let us know that they can live a normal life.
Yes.
So it's just up to us to assist them where we can.
Yes, the assistance is important.
Thank you very much, Dr. Claxton. Viewers, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Greetings, my lovely people. I'm Chantel, residing in Taiwan. 12 hours time difference. It's nighttime here, morning time in SK. I'm busy and on the go. However, I always manage to keep up to date with what's happening in SK. All thanks to Good Morning SKN. Good morning SKN. Ciao bango.
Consuming foods like bananas, potatoes, and dried peas and beans such as lentils and kidney beans contains potassium, which helps to reduce salt in the body.
When growing your savings, where you save matters more than you think. Dare to compare and see for yourself why you should start saving and investing at First Federal Credit Union. You don't have to settle for cents. Let your money make sense. Reap a higher return by stashing your cash in a high-yield savings account or term deposit and earn up to 4% interest on your money. At First Federal, we say yes.
Most people consume excess salt from processed foods, such as snack foods, processed meats, instant meals, and condiments.
Instead, use fresh vegetables, ground provision, fresh meats, and natural herb seasonings, just like our grandparents did, and just like you did with this soup. We are Salt Smart.
No cash, no card, no problem. Dad, embrace the freedom.
Welcome back. Oh, this is the part I just don't understand. Why does it have to be our final segment here on Good Morning SKN?
Yeah.
Where we let you know, however, what's happening. So we're still informing you as we go along. So there is a track and fitness Easter camp. The man himself, yes, the greatest record-breaking athlete here in the Federation, Kim Collins, is hosting a track and fitness Easter camp starting today, April 4th, and ending on the 14th of April. So that's 10 days with Mr. Collins. It is easy $100 for children ages 9 to 12. In case you missed it, you can visit the Facebook page Kim Collins to find out if applications are still being accepted, because who would want to miss this opportunity?
I wouldn't if I was that age.
I won't.
And he was right here with us on Good Morning SKN, and he is indeed, just as he said, giving back.
Yeah, he's very passionate about that. So
right. I'm hoping there's still time, viewers, if you have children who are not only those who have some sort of athletic potential, but you know, just to get the experience and to get out of the house. But I don't know if there's time. So
and to hang out with Mr. Kim Collins
and
himself.
to speak with Mr. Collins himself. And
let's hope.
Well, we'll see. Try, call, and see what happens, and see if you still have an opportunity. And we'll also have a market intelligence workshop. The Caribbean Export Development Agency is hosting a market intelligence workshop with the intention of building globally competitive SMEs, small and medium enterprises, small and mid-sized enterprises. The event will take place at the St. Kitts and Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce today, April 4th, and tomorrow, April 5th, from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. So it's in the morning. So firms in St. Kitts and Nevis are invited to participate in a 2-day workshop to improve the use of high-quality market intelligence to support sustainable trade and business activities. If you missed it today, you can visit the Caribbean Export Development Agency Facebook page to find out more about this, and if you'd be able to attend tomorrow. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah, so if you missed today, there is tomorrow.
And also the information is very critical for small and medium enterprises, because as we just mentioned, even this morning when we were speaking with Abigail, in terms of finding a niche, which would mean that you would also be able to come up with your own job, right?
And
as an entrepreneur.
And we should have learned that after COVID, we need to have a second job.
It stimulated a lot of entrepreneurs into taking action because there was no money coming in. So you had to find a way to...
And I think prior to that too, we didn't have time to, as you said, explore our niche because we were busy working. So
Good point.
The pandemic gave us time to find that.
Good point. Yes. So there was time at home.
Yeah. Plenty time. Right. There will be an ATM service interruption. The St. Kitts and Nevis Anguilla National Bank Limited wishes to advise its valued customers that the ATM located at the J.N. France Hospital will be unavailable from tomorrow. Not today, tomorrow. So take as much money as you need today. The 5th of April to Thursday the 7th. So 2 days the ATM will be down. So you can visit the other locations around Basse-Terre and anywhere else in the island. This interruption is to accommodate upgrades and renovations to the ATM once again. So that's the ATM at the J.N. France Hospital. It will not be working from the 5th April to the 7th.
Yeah. That's important to know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we use them and we don't want to have to go and line up in the bank.
Yeah,
so
we use the ATM, and that ATM is it's conveniently across from the gas station.
Mm-hmm.
So
And the hospital. Sometimes you have to go pay for your test.
Look at that.
Yeah, you have to get your blood test,
wow.
etc.
Right
and
smack
you
dab in
just
between.
you just if you don't have enough, you run down the road, get your money, run back up.
Well, we got to remember for 2 days, starting tomorrow, to have the monies once we get in that area.
Need to have your money at hand. Yes. So, what did you think of today?
Today was a good day. Although, folks, it's not April Fool's. Jamie will be back tomorrow.
Although we did hear that you guys did enjoy our
Jaime and Kurt.
mock host. Yes. Well, how did their names go? Kurt
and Jaime.
Kurt Morris? Was
no,
it?
Kurt Carty.
Kurt Carty.
And Jaime Morris.
Jaime Morris. So, hey, you've got to keep your eye on us, because you never know when we're going to switch it up.
Once again.
So please pay attention to us and always stay locked on us, even if you have to view our programming after the show. But we actually would love to have you during the show.
Yeah.
That way you can comment and tell us what you think about what we're doing.
Yep. So we're going to say thank you for joining us today, or it's a bit too soon?
What else do you have to say? Not what's in your cup.
I still want to know. I have not been given the privilege to know what's in your cup, and we're still asking for sunrise and sunset photos, but mostly sunrise.
Yeah, because we're a morning show, so we invite you to do that for us. So even if you look at us as a clip after on our social media sites, do let us know what you think of our show, because that's very important for us. Because you know what? We do this for you, every morning.
Every morning.
Every weekday morning.
You gotta wake up with
let us know
Monday to
where we
Friday.
can serve you better. All right? So remember to follow us. We have our social media platforms, including Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and even TikTok. All at our handles at Studio 327 Inc. Like, subscribe, and follow us. So
follow us. Follow us.
So leave us a comment.
Leave us a comment. Tell us what topics and guests you would like to see next. And as I said before, see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. when you start your morning with myself and Jamie.
Yeah, they're throwing me out tomorrow. They're throwing me out. But guess what, viewers? I really enjoyed my time with you today.
Thank you for filling in.
Oh, you're most welcome.
Jamie would appreciate it.
Yes.
He
So
certainly would.
Jamie will be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
So viewers, do have a lovely day.
Bye.
Bye. See you tomorrow on Good Morning SKN.